Russia just committed an international war crime, and you probably have no clue it even happened.
Overnight, a Russian drone has hit the damaged Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant.
Missile drone strike has significantly damaged the radiation shelter of the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant.
Welcome to The Cellar. At 1:59 a.m. on Friday, February 14th, 2025, a high-explosive Russian drone struck the protective shell at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant. Just in case you need a refresher, Chernobyl is the site of the worst nuclear disaster in human history, which took place back in 1986. I already made a video diving into the Chernobyl disaster. If you want to check it out, the link is here. Now, to put things into perspective, it is estimated that the Chernobyl accident released about 400 times more radioactive material into the environment than the combined atomic bombings of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The radioactive cloud from the Chernobyl disaster would spread all across Europe and even reach parts of North America and Asia. Its long-lasting negative effects on humanity is still debated and discussed to this very day. Now, you may ask, what's this got to do with me? Well, to put it simply, this affects everyone. This affects all of humanity. See, following the initial disaster, a hasty effort was put together to secure Chernobyl. People were evacuated from the area, and helicopters were used to drop sand and boron in order to smother the fire and prevent further nuclear reactions. Soon, the Russian government began work on constructing a temporary concrete sarcophagus. They hoped to cover the Chernobyl site and thus prevent any further nuclear expulsions. Once the sarcophagus was completed, the world took a collective breath, but this relief wouldn't last forever. The original sarcophagus was built rather quickly and inefficiently. Over time, it would begin to shift, buckle, and fall apart. Authorities soon deemed it was highly probable that it would one day collapse. With containment a top priority, authorities began working tirelessly to reinforce the sarcophagus, but it was becoming all too clear that a new structure was needed immediately. This is the point in our story where I get to discuss how numerous different countries came together to help get a new structure funded. To be more specific, over 45 donor nations helped fund the $2.3 billion project. Upon completion, the new safe confinement shelter was slid into place over the top of the existing sarcophagus and damaged reactor. This new safe confinement shelter is state-of-the-art and was prepared to keep the world safe from the Chernobyl reactor for the next 100 years. That was until the Russian drone struck, causing a hole that's big enough to drive your mom's minivan through it. Now you may say to yourself, okay, then just fix it. But to put it bluntly, it's just not that simple. See, the confinement shelter does a lot more than just cover the area. The new safe confinement design is an arch-shaped steel structure with an internal height of 92.5 meters or 303.5 feet. The internal span of the arch is 245 meters or 803.8 feet, and the external span is 270 meters or 885.83 feet. The overall length of the structure is 150 meters or 492.1 feet, consisting of 13 arches assembled 12.5 meters or 41 feet apart to form 12 bays. The design, contrary to public belief, does not seal and keep everything inside. That's just not how it works. Now, to explain how the system works, I will play a quick clip from the Kiev Independent YouTube channel. I highly recommend checking out the work that they do over there.
The new safe confinement is not hermetically sealed. It's not an airtight jar keeping everything in. How it works is that a specially designed ventilation system maintains a lower atmospheric pressure inside, about 5 to 8 pascals lower than the exterior to be precise. Airflow moves from high to low pressure. You poke a small hole in a balloon, the air leaks out. So, lower pressure inside the confinement pulls air inside rather than letting it outside. To do that, you need to have a controlled environment, something you can't really do with a hole in the side.
Now, between the double walls of the confinement is a layer of waterproof insulation. When the drone struck, punching a hole in the confinement, it also caused a fire to break out within the double walls. The insulation went up in flames, and from February 14th to March 3rd, officials had to punch more holes within the walls of the confinement to find spots where the fire was still burning. They managed to get control of the fire, but in doing so, more damage was done to the confinement. The Ukrainian government is hard at work trying to come up with a plan to fix everything, but it's no simple task. One idea that may be feasible is moving the entire confinement away from the reactor in order to perform numerous repairs. See, the entire confinement was built on train tracks and then moved into place, so it is feasible that this could be an option, but it's all still being looked at. Add to the severity of the situation is the original sarcophagus, which was left in place when the new confinement was placed over it. Ukraine had plans over the next 4 years to finally go in and work on removing the old sarcophagus. Its condition continues to deteriorate, and it's truly unknown as to when it may collapse. The hope is that it will continue to hold, at least for the time being. In the end, Russia has denied any and all involvement in the incident. Ukraine has gone public in showing what's left of the drone that struck the confinement, but Russia claims this is all a fabrication by the Ukraine government. Now, Russia may claim to have not done this, but we have evidence that they quite consistently run kamikaze drones through the exclusion zone around Chernobyl. It has been a common practice of theirs throughout the entirety of the Ukraine war. Also, according to the security services of Ukraine, the drone that conducted the strike was an HESA Shahed-136, an Iranian-designed type of drone. It is known that Iran has supplied such drones to Russia throughout the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and its use by Russia was well documented during the war. Also, the same night that Chernobyl was struck, Russia attacked Ukraine with 133 Shahed drones, 73 of which were shot down before reaching their target. This is according to the Ukrainian Air Force. So why would Russia do this? Well, the Russian government denied allegations of striking the power plant, with Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov stating that our military doesn't do that. He also suggested that Ukrainian officials made the entire claim up to disrupt the peace negotiations. Throughout the 3-year war, we have seen repeated power cuts to critical cooling systems at Chernobyl, as well as Ukraine's 4 other active nuclear plants. On numerous occasions, officials have feared that spent nuclear fuel could overheat. These cuts in power often follow shelling or drone strikes on nearby power lines. With power lines down, energy is disrupted, and the nuclear plants lose critically needed power to operate safely. Russia has shown little care in how their attacks affect Ukraine's nuclear power plants. As Ukraine scrambles to fix the confinement and prevent nuclear disaster, will Russia strike again? Are Ukraine's efforts to repair the confinement futile? Will Russia continue to show their reckless nature when it pertains to nuclear reactor sites? As the war continues on, we can only hope that peace is found sooner than later, because in the end, all it could take is one drone, one bomb, one strike, and the entire world could be looking at a nuclear disaster far, far worse than that of Chernobyl. As always, a big thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoy the content I make here on the channel, then please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel continue to grow. Also, you can check the description box below and find the link to my merch store and a link to my membership tier for the channel. For only $2.99 a month, you can help support my channel further, and you get some cool perks to go with it. One of those perks is having your name listed here in the end of each of my videos. So thank you to all my Cellar Dweller members. Also, if you'd like to submit any kind of real-life scary story of any kind, please do so using the email I have linked in the description box below. As always, I do all the research, writing, recording, and editing for the channel myself, so anything that you do to help support this channel is greatly appreciated. And until next time, I will see you all again as we head back into the cellar.